Her millions of fans say she's sassy and sexy. Her critics, and there are a few of them too, say otherwise. But there's one thing about Madonna no one can deny, not even the lady herself. She shamelessly promoted herself all the way to the top of the rock pile. And now she's at it again, with a new movie which she calls a documentary and others call filth. Just the title should give you a fair idea of what it's all about. In Bed with Madonna. It consumed 250 hours of film. Madonna on stage. Off stage. Madonna being Madonna. Well, maybe.
Thank you.
When you meet the lady herself, you find she's changed yet again. The Marilyn Monroe look is out. The brunette Madonna is in business.
Yeah.
Changing your hairstyle now and colour, does that give you a few or maybe a couple of weeks of a little bit more privacy?
Well, what it does is, you know, when you have bleach blonde hair, as soon as you walk out onto a street, people look, you know, it's like a bright light. So it gives me about 6 to 10 seconds more of anonymity.
All you need is your own imagination, so use it, that's what it's for.
She might want a few extra seconds of anonymity, but there is nothing private about her latest product.
We really didn't know what we were doing. I just said film it, you know, because I'd grown really fond of all the people I was working with, and they were so entertaining to me. And I just said I wanted to make a movie of it.
And you also wanted to show that you're human like anyone else, didn't you?
Well, yeah. But it wasn't in my head going, I have to show the other side of myself to the world. You know, I have to show the human side of myself. To me, it's more of a movie about life, period, than just my life.
It wasn't always flattering to you either, was it?
No, definitely not, but I'm not always pleasing to be with or look at or whatever, like anybody. If we can't get it to sound better than this, then I'm not doing a show. So someone who knows about sound better come up here and explain something to me.
Madonna's cameras were with her every step of the way on the 27-city Blonde Ambition tour last year. A tour the cynics called Blind Ambition.
Because it's raining, Freddie.
I know it is.
You think it's funny.
I don't. Nobody get up there. I don't think it's funny at all. Well, here's Bert.
Get out. I'm having a business talk. Goodbye. Ow!
You run a tight ship.
Yeah. Are you a tyrant?
In terms of business, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
But are you as hard on yourself as you often are on the staff?
I think I'm harder on myself.
Are you?
Yeah.
In what ways?
I always want to be perfect, you know. I don't want to make any mistakes. I don't, when I have a show, I don't want to sing a bad note. I don't want anything to go wrong in terms of my own performance. I insist on being perfect, and even if people say, oh, it was so great, I'm just going to concentrate on the one thing I know in my mind that I did wrong, and then, of course, I'll be obsessing about it all night, and meanwhile, everybody else will be telling me how great it was, so.
And you take that with a grain of salt?
Yeah, it's hard for me to take compliments.
Great. Take a breath. Good.
This is crazy. Nobody talks about this on film?
Talks about what?
The insanity of doing this all on a documentary.
Along for part of the ride was Warren Beatty, Madonna's boyfriend at the time. And if this moment is anything to go by, he wasn't exactly a willing passenger.
Well, anyone that comes into this insane atmosphere, you realize they all feel it when they come into this atmosphere. When they come into your dressing room, when they come wherever you are, they feel
Since then, of course, Madonna and this particular leading man have gone their separate ways.
If you want to talk at all off camera, you have nothing to say.
She doesn't want to live off camera, much less talk.
Do you think a lot of people see you as a sex maniac who doesn't get enough?
I'm sure some people have that gross error in their mind about me, yeah. Yeah.
And is it true that you'd often prefer a book than a man?
Well, I think I said in an interview once that you know, that people have this idea that I'm this raving nymphomaniac and that I've got to have sex all the time. And I said, frankly, I'd rather read a good book because in the end, I mean, I think people, if you're referring to a one-night stand or a superficial relationship, something you know isn't going to last, it's really more trouble because then you have to deal with it, you know. I mean, you're better off reading a good book, really, you know. So.
And might you...
Read a good book?
No, actually, I was going to ask you, might you occasionally have a one-night stand?
Oh, I've been guilty of that, yes.
Uh-huh. Today, it's Madonna the Demure. Yesterday, it was Madonna the Demon. Like a Prayer, the video that rocked the Catholic Church, starring a former convent girl who, at the age of 10, had only one ambition, to be a nun.
The nuns were like movie stars to me. They had a kind of grace about them. They were, they were unreachable. They were mysterious.
And I think you've always said sexy.
Yeah, there was something about them, you know. I thought they were so great. I thought they were special. And of course I wanted to be special, so, you know, thought, okay, I'll be a nun.
And particularly with the name Madonna.
Yeah, of course.
And was it true that you thought you'd either be a nun or a superstar?
Well, not at the time. I mean, what happened is I wanted to be a nun, and then I discovered boys one day. So I took off my jacket, I took off my blouse, I was stripped down to my undershirt and my skirt, and I went chasing after this boy, and I tackled him on the ground. And then finally the nuns came to his rescue and said, you know, took me in a room, sat me down, and explained to me that not only was that no way for a lady to behave, but it was no way for a nun, if someone who was aspiring to be a nun, to behave, because nuns are not interested in the affection of men.
They don't go around raping young boys.
Well, chasing them, I don't know about
Okay.
raping them. And that hadn't occurred to me, that they had a celibate life, you know, and I was like, what? You know, because I was just starting to be attracted to boys, and so I said, okay, forget it, that's it, forget it, I'm not going to be a nun.
You say you're a lapsed Catholic.
Uh-huh.
After your run-ins with the Vatican, I'm surprised that you haven't been excommunicated.
Well, I probably have, I just don't know it.
You'd think they could at least tell you.
Yeah, I think once you're excommunicated, though, they just don't want to have anything to do with it. I think they don't want to waste the stationery, you know. I mean, they just sort of pretend you don't exist.
Do you think some of your performances over the years have embarrassed your family?
Maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It doesn't worry you?
No.
What about your dad?
Well, you know, I want my dad to approve of everything he does, but I mean, I think everybody seeks their parents' approval, even if they know deep down inside they're never going to get it. You know, you can't get away from your parents, you know.
And you've always been his favourite?
Well, I'd like to think that. I could be wrong.
Hello.
Dad?
Yeah.
Hi, it's me.
Well, hi. How are you?
And in the movie, that golden-haired girl phones home.
I mean, Dad, I'd love it if you'd come to both shows. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty racy in some sections. I don't know if you could take it 2 nights in a row.
Oh, you had to get racy on me.
Dad, I'm not getting racy. I've been racy.
Then there's this scene. Madonna making a pilgrimage to her mother's grave. The first in 15 years. And with cameras rolling.
I'm gonna fit in right here. They're gonna bury me sideways.
Some found it offensive, but not Madonna.
Little girl, you've got to forget.
She was only 6 when her mother died from breast cancer, a slow and painful death.
My mother was, you know, this superhuman creature, and I didn't want her to be weak. I didn't want her to be tired, and I was mad at her.
And she cried herself because she couldn't play with you.
Yes, yeah. And I could feel then, as a child, when I was sort of pounding on her, that even though I was a small child, that I had 100 times more strength than she did. I mean, I could feel her frailty even as a child, so.
You still miss her after 25 years. I know you were very young when she passed away. What sort of impact did she have on you?
probably her death has had more of an effect on me than her life, than what she did when she was alive, you know. Just the fact that my mother disappeared, you know. So I think that affected me a great deal because all of a sudden something very important was missing. So I've sort of had this emptiness that I've had to sort of go out into the world to fill up, you know.
Which is why it helped you succeed.
Yes, actually it did. Made me very determined, and I think it gave me a lot of the drive that I had.
But if you believe the movie Madonna, sometimes there's no drive at all. Despite the adoring fans, sometimes she's alone.
Feels like a lie.
You've been compared to a mixture of Little Orphan Annie,
Little Orphan Annie.
Mae West,
Ooh,
and Margaret Thatcher.
really?
Have you heard that?
You know, I don't know anything about Little Orphan Annie. I know about Margaret Thatcher and Mae West, and they certainly, I think, they were great women. So, I mean, strong, intelligent, you know, in charge, whatever. So,
Sounds
not
like
shabby
you.
company. But now, but I don't know anything about Little Orphan Annie. So, should I be insulted or flattered?
Innocence, I think.
Oh, that's good. Innocence is good. I would think it would be a great mistake to take everything I do on stage seriously.
And do people get the joke?
Some do and some don't.
Does that frustrate you that I think so many people don't get the joke?
Yes, it does frustrate me.
Yet another past persona. This time, the material girl. It certainly has a ring of truth when you consider one estimate of her earnings. More than 50 million last year alone. But talk to the material girl today, and she says she'd give almost anything just to be a mother. How much does motherhood mean to you these days?
A lot. It means a lot. I do want to have a child.
Would you be a good mum?
Uh-huh.
Not too busy? Not travelling too much?
Well, I guess I'd have to change a few things. You know, but if I traveled, my child would be with me.
Hi.
Hey, you were great.
Thank
You were
you.
great. Thanks.
And one final twist from the star who can change tack
Thanks for coming.
almost as often as she changes hairstyle.
I'm so desperate
For what, honey?
for some fun.
What
It's
kind of
all
fun
work.
do you wanna have?
Well, this is fun to me.
In the movie,
I mean, all I
she's
do
been
is
there,
everybody
done
on the
that,
show after a while.
and more.
Boring.
Who do you want to meet next?
Who do I want to meet next?
Who would really blow you away?
I think I met everybody.
But back at the interview, there's still a
But if I
spark.
traveled, I would.
So much to do, so much still to see. Is there anyone left that you'd like to meet in the world?
Yeah, a lot of people. I want to meet Gorbachev, and I want to meet.
Princess Diana?
Yeah, I'd like to meet her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Bob Hawke?
Who?
Bob Hawke. He's the Prime Minister of Australia.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Oops.
There's certainly millions of Australians who'd like to meet you.
Uh-huh.
Are there any plans to come to Australia?
I'm gonna get there someday. I swear I'm coming soon.
I bet you say that to all the guys.
That's very good.
Hello, I'm Liz Hayes. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9 Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.